Oh, people, it's Friday lunchtime. Hope you're safe and well. Russ is here in the house. DJ Russie B, the place to be. R.I.P. Peach. God, come out of nowhere. Hope you are all well. Obviously, tomorrow we welcome Spurs to the London Stadium. 5:30 kickoff. What's the worst that can happen? Getting everyone pissed on the bevs well before kickoff time. But don't bring your half and half scarves, please don't. That'll be. Don't forget Match Bingo, our channel sponsors. QR code is, I'm going to say here because it's either here or here based on where the screen orientation. But download the QR code and use the promo code WHN, all capital letters, to get 200% bonus on your deposits. Get your dabbers and dobbers for the game and might win a few quid. We've won a few times and, basically Match Bingo put in money for us to play to show how we do it, and they've honoured when we've won and given it to the food banks and stuff as well. So also don't forget to put £1 or so in John's bucket. They'll be there at the game tomorrow, and also incidentally when we play Brentford, we will be covering all the game and doing the watch along, but as I said before, we will be donating all ad revenue from those streams from the Brentford game directly to the food banks, because obviously if there's a boycott, fans aren't there, that's a major sort of fundraising arm is the match day collection. So hopefully that little bit of ad revenue, not much, that little bit could at least plug some of the gap. Anyway, this morning I spoke about London Stadium. That's what I did. And now I'm going to talk about Lucas Paqueta. Now, yesterday, a very unusual, not very unusual, but an Instagram post sort of by Lucas basically put some of the West Ham fan base into meltdown. And I think for me, it's a realization, and I think actually it's quite a, quite a mature way to look at football and look at football players and look at their sort of lifespan at a club. But I don't think the intention was that really. I think the intention was to make it more of a rallying cry. And actually, in an ever fragmented fan base, it's really important to have that togetherness. And I thought that's what Lucas was exemplifying in his Instagram post. Let me put it up for you so you can see what you think. He said, "It's about choosing those who welcome you, who never judged you, who believed in you until the very last moment, who loved you and who made you feel at home. It's about staying loyal, not only when you've had everything, but also when there was nothing. It's not time to say goodbye yet. Let's go together for one more season." So, reading that from a, not even between the lines, clearly for one more season. So Lucas is telling us that actually this could be his last season at West Ham. Now, his contract doesn't run out until 2027. There is an option on top of that as well. So he will be entering the final year of his contract next year. And that's, to me, seems a sensible time if we're going to sell him. Then obviously there was a belief that he was, when he was found not guilty, that he was off. And actually, it's probably one of the best bits of the transfer window that we've done is keeping him, particularly with not having a ready-made replacement lined up. We've got a year now, a season. If we read to be believed what that says, we've got a season now to get someone ready to go. Whether it is, I was reading about one of Florian Wirtz's old teammates, who's like a 21-year-old German international, or he will be a German international soon, who was looking to move to the Premier League. But that's the idea. Those, we've got time now to. We were linked with loads of types of those players, realistically, as his replacement, really, in all honesty. And so it'd be interesting to see what happens, particularly in January, or particularly with the summer coming up. What happens there. It goes alongside, obviously, it does coincide with what Richard Romano said on the Theo Walcott podcast, basically claiming that social media ruined Paqueta's move to Aston Villa. Although I don't know if he sees the irony of what he was saying, though. In all honesty, I don't think he sees the irony in it, because he was the one who said it, and now he's upset that he said it, or someone. I don't know. Very bizarre little interview that he did on the podcast. Go and check it. I'm sure you can see it on TikTok or the actual clip on X or something like that. It's very, very strange. But we're led to be believed that there was a move to Aston Villa was on the cards, and it was they basically didn't pay the money up. They wanted to look at a loan deal with an obligation to buy at the end, and West Ham wanted straight cash, which I think was fair enough. Someone who's so integral. Didn't happen. Lucas didn't sulk. He didn't go on strike. He didn't go out publicly and say I want to leave. �𝗓𝗧. But what he did do was take it on the chin. Hasn't worked. Didn't work out. Carry on. That's football. That's life. And I think, particularly, obviously, we spoke about yesterday with the interview from Bruno Guimaraes, where he was talking about, how he sees now. Obviously, he's a very close friend of him, but he's seeing now the old Lucas of Flamengo, the Lucas of Lyon, and that's the Lucas we want. And a season with that Lucas, anything is possible. And if I put a big if there, we have a very good season and say maybe qualify for Europe. Why not? Fuck it. Or a really good FA Cup run or something like that. They may want to encourage Lucas to stay for the next season. Who knows? But he's basically said, look, we're all together in it. He did say he was going to repay the loyalty shown at West Ham. And with those words, that's the feeling I got. We've welcomed, the way he grabbed the badge in the picture. I mean, that picture he's taken, he's included specifically. He clearly loves the club. And we've made him feel at home. His family are very at home, as you know. And he wants to stay loyal. And it's not time to say goodbye yet. He's staying. It reminds me of that Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't fucking going nowhere. That's basically, and in a day where we've seen, transfer window, we've seen 𝗑𝗓𝗧 jump at the first one to flash his knickers at anyone who wants him, and now Figueiredo wanting to leave, and players like that. It's nice to see someone actually. Do you know? I want to stay. Yes, I'm going to stay for his. But But people have gone, oh, you basically said he's leaving. Well, he's a footballer. He's not a fan. He's not. It's a bit different if it was. I think maybe if it was maybe Jarrod Bowen or someone like that saying I'm leaving in the summer. Lucas he's always been one of those players who was going to leave eventually. I think it would be very, very naive of anyone to think he's here forever. He's going to be the next Mark Noble. He's going to stay here all his career and see that ain't going to happen. Not with football nowadays. Loyalty is something which is a very is a commodity, very scarce commodity in football. But actually, being honest, and honesty again is a very scarce commodity. And he's basically being honest. He's saying, "Look, this is probably going to be my last season. Let's make it a good one." I like that. And in reality, for me, he's in the same bracket as people like Fornals and people like people who just get West Ham, the Di Canios, the people like that. The people who are foreign-based players who just get it. And I would assume personally it would be a move back to Brazil. The World Cup would have just finished, and taking his young family back home and seeing the last few years out of his career in Brazil, going back to his roots. But it's the first bit I'm all about. That yes, and arguably a foreign-based player showing a bit of loyalty as well, or showing a bit of honesty, which again something which is very, very rare. But let me know what you think. Some people are pissed off by it? I think it's perfect. I think it's I think the timing's great. We're going to a big game tomorrow against Spurs. We need some together. We need some crowd togetherness. We need some, we need a team performance. And I think he's just basically saying, look, let's go for it. I'm loyal. I'm staying here. You guys have taken me to your hearts, and likewise. And let's push on. I'm all for that. I think it's, again, it's something which I like to hear is a bit of honesty among football players. But let me know what you think. I'm sure there'll be some different opinions. But anyway, take care. Stay safe. Also, as I said, don't forget Match Ping. I've got to say that because they're lovely guys. They are really super. But also, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. We're literally paper thin away from 28,000 subscribers randomly. And we'd really like to hit 30,000 if possible by the end of the year. So if anything you do to help, share the wealth, let everyone know how great the West Ham network is. We've got some great ex-player interviews coming up in the next few weeks as well. And also don't forget raffle. It's in the comments below. You could win a signed Bobby Moore, Trevor Brooking, and Mark Noble shirt all together on one shirt. It's the white away shirt from a couple of years back. £5 a ticket. There's only about a dozen or so people who've gone in for it, so there's a real chance of getting something. In all honesty, but anyway, take care, stay safe, stay warm, give it a like. But if you haven't got a comment, just put your favourite emoji in there because it all adds to the channel engagement. Much love, peace out.